For generations, Kikuyu marriage was not a complicated ritual system, but it was a carefully ordered social covenant. This book introduces the concept of rectification ceremony. My name is Mzee Njuguna Mwangi.
Wow, it is my great pleasure to welcome all our listeners and viewers to this engaging session. The United Kenya Club remains a dynamic space for unity in diversity, and we are delighted to have you join us as we continue to share insightful conversations from within our community. I am Kinyanjui Mushai. I'm a member of the United Kenya Club, and I happen to be the chairman of membership. Today, we are especially honored to host a distinguished speaker, Mzee Njuguna Mwangi, who is not only a respected voice in his field, but also a valued member of our club. His presence reflects the richness of experience and thought leadership that defines the United Kenya Club. We invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. Mzee Njuguna, karibu, karibu, karibu.
Asante sana.
A bit of an intro. Let me just tell these good people a bit about you. You trace your ancestry to two Kikuyu clans, namely Gadhumbati and Muga.
Correct.
Therefore,
Before you go, both Aitherado.
Both Aitherado. Amazing. Therefore, you are a Mudirando wa Balea Gadhumbati.
That's correct.
That is correct. Mm-hmm. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Your interest outside economics was first planted in your youth mind by some scholars in sociology and social anthropology. Among those teachers, there was a distinguished scholar named Dr. Walter Rodney, who wrote a seminal book, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. As the mentioned book opens your eyes to social effects of European colonization and imperialism. Wow. As a mature adult, husband, father, and grandfather, that interest has grown, covered both your own Kikuyu heritage and global events in particular, researching on histography and evolution of Abrahamic religion tree, which founded the doctrine of one God and the prophets. With these three branches, namely Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, and how they continue to impact on the social, economic, and political lives of Africans to this day.
That's correct.
Wow, this is awesome. I think based on what I have read about you, I think that is what has informed you picking this step. And I think your concern was that many youth today show increasing ignorance of their culture, heritage, including that of their own family history.
That's correct.
Decades of research and documenting them in your books is a small attempt to remedy this ignorance, at least your own ancestry and the Kikuyu culture. You have achieved this work, but you have achieved it by relying on contributions from family members, friends, history scholars, and professionals. Your hope is that your research work will provide awareness to family roots and thus strengthen young Kenyan youth's sense of both culture and individual identity. Amazing. This is quite a feat.
It is.
Before us, I see some books. Care to explain where we are going to start in terms of the conversation?
Thank you very much, Bwana Director. As you stated, my background started with being exposed to Christianity when I was baptized in June 26, 1954. Wow. It also coincided with me being an errand boy of our Mukuru, who was a Modumugo, a medicine man, as opposed to the derogatory word which the colonialists gave people like him as witch doctors. They are not witch doctors.
Oh. Correction.
Correction.
Nice.
And the reason why I say so, during my research, and this is background to what made me want to write these books, is when my eyes were opened that Christianity as brought by colonialists was not the Christianity that was started in the Council of Jerusalem, 48 to 50 AD.
Okay.
That aspect, I'm bringing it because it has consequences to the cultural distortions that the missionaries brought. That's why I bring it up front.
That's right.
I want to point out that in that council, that is when Gentiles were brought to Christianity. And most Christians up to date only hear Gentiles were brought to Christianity. Nothing more is said. Who is a Gentile? Gentiles is anyone who is not Jew and therefore was not brought up observing Moses' laws, mitzvah or mitzvot, 613 commandments, Moses, whereas most of people know that there were only 10. They were not 10, and there still are 613 because Judaism is still there.
Awesome.
The place that will sow these seeds of my first book is non-observant of what was decreed in the Council of Jerusalem, which is captured in Acts of the Apostles, chapter 15, verse 20 onwards. In summary, that council recognized three things. God created all human beings to be where they are with their culture. God created, he had the power to create only one monolithic group, but did not do so. And that is what those creation and God not wanting to use his power to create only one group is the one now that informed that council of the way forward that all Gentiles are brought to Christianity, recognizing each people where they are culturally is God who put them there with a purpose which none of us knows why. And therefore, the Council of Jerusalem decreed that only 4 things each culture was to stop practicing. Worship of idols, don't eat meat or drink the blood of those slaughtered for idols. Circumcision of boys is not going to be required as was needed under Mosaic laws. And the other one is immorality. 4 things. However, when the Christianity was brought to us, it was not that Christianity that recognized only the 4 things that the council wanted removed from all cultures. They actually ignored the decree, and the colonizers actually used as their governance policies the doctrine of slave Bible Yes, you heard me correct. In 1807, there was a Bible called Slave Bible that was a redacted version of the Bible as you know it, that was only emphasizing servitude, subjugation of the slaves and the blacks in Africa. And that is why, using that, you saw missionaries demonizing his culture in total. And for those people who do not know, that is what led to Pope Francis in 2022 apologizing the Catholic Church and all other churches, for your information, to note that annihilating of cultures was not one of the required. And therefore, in order to bring that aspect, which was bedrock of my books, I started now documenting what culture should have been among the Kikuyus.
Oh, nice. I like that. So that is the genesis of you being not only an author, but a published author.
Yes.
So I can read here that what this first manuscript says is the Kikuyu marriage, Ugoraniwa o Gikuyu. Give us a bit more context, because when you talk of Ugorani, I'm thinking about marriage. And I think having just gone through, there are some stages that people go through. Can you to give us more context on the same?
I'll give you context in two things.
Yes.
If you look at the title,
Yes,
I said Kikuyu marriage,
that's right.
the Center for Expansion of the 10 clans of the Kikuyu.
Okay.
So it was meant to remind people that we are followers, or we fall clan-wise, Mehiriga, the Kedamuyuru.
Sorry? Kedamuihuru.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Kikuyu and Mobi had 10 daughters.
Yes, that's true.
But Kikuyu do not completely tell you the truth of how many children they are. So that's why Keda, full 9, Keda Muyuru.
Tikomi.
Asha Tikumi.
Awesome. We learn every day.
Yes.
Awesome.
So that's why I wanted people to know and be reminded we each follow or fall within one of the 10 clans, Keda Muyuru.
Kedamuihuru.
And therefore I took marriage as a tool of how the Mehirigas expanded. And that is why then I wanted now to bring in the various stages, which was very well organized, as each stage had a role to play, whether touching the people who want to get married, their parents,
Okay.
and their clans.
Okay.
For the simple reason, the Kikuyu marriage is the role of the clans,
Okay.
not an individual.
So
You cannot sell. You cannot have Udoni alone.
that's true. Mzee Njuguna, this is very interesting. And I realize here we have Ugorani,
Yes.
and now we have Odhoni. Can you care to explain? Because even others think even Kihiko. Why is it Ugorani, Odhoni, and then the various stages you alluded to?
Thank you.
I think from where I sit, there may be 2 or 3. I read somewhere there are 16.
Actually, I'll bring up front that the two words mean the same when we are talking about the process.
Okay.
Both of them are the same.
Okay.
However, some of the queries that were raised by the readers, especially the women, they said they feel when the word is ogorani, they feel as if they are goats or sheep being sold in the market.
Oh, in the market.
In the market.
They feel like they're commodities.
Yes.
My goodness.
And that is the reason why I then decided that Udhoni is more politically correct.
True that, yeah.
Even though when I start now going into details,
That's right.
I'll be able to expand and point the difference of the various cultures of the world, because there is also confusion there.
Okay.
But and that is where you find even people think they know English, and I'm bringing this up front.
Mm-hmm.
They think that when they say dowry, they mean rurashio, which is not the case at all.
What is the case?
The case rurashio is called bride wealth or bride price.
Okay.
There are two cultures in the world, and in the past they used to be 50-50.
Okay.
The whole of Asia and Europe used to be on the dowry system.
That's true.
Africa and the Pacifics, they were on the bride wealth.
Bride. Is that the bride price?
Bride wealth or bride, they are two words used interchangeably.
Awesome. That's okay.
But I'm bringing that because it's one of the things that, has been clarified in our book. But since before long we are going to start talking about ratio, I wanted to use the correct word. You use the word ratio because that's the language you understand.
That's true.
Wacha ile ya Kiingereza because utaanza kujisema utapotea. So coming now to the stages.
Yes. How many are they first? I mean,
there are actually 16 sittings.
My goodness. For one bride or 16 brides?
For one.
Oh my.
Because each one had a specific reason.
Wow. Care to explain?
Of course I am. That's why I'm here.
Awesome.
When a young man gets a girl he wants to marry, the first person he used to run to, the mamawe.
Mamawe, the uncle?
The uncle in English.
Yes.
But we do know Mama Yamudu is the brother to the Yama.
The maternal uncle.
Yes.
Because the paternal uncle was Fafamunyini or Fafamukuru.
Our mukuru kana our munini. Kuyuni our.
We learn every day.
Good.
Awesome.
So he would tell the uncle, Mamawe, that girl, and the uncle would now see whether it is suitability. Then after that, the boy will ask the uncle to, and I have explained a lot, to show him how he can brew a beer to inform the father he has found a girl.
Oh my.
This is very important because in that first sitting, that is when the saying kwi mihiriga itaguranagira.
Okay.
Kwi muiretu uria ni kiere kia njira-ini kana ni kihia kia njira-ini. Uria ni muiretu ni kiguta, very lazy. Ni kiere kia njira-ini kana ni kiguta.
Kiguta, I understand. Kiere kia njira-ini.
It means that girl is of loose morals.
Oh. Okay.
And therefore, the father would not want such a girl to be married because he is afraid that even the child comes out of that woman might be somebody else.
Oh my goodness.
So it served a purpose.
I hear you.
Because the boy was counseled by the father about the suitability of that girl.
Of the girl.
Imagine the wisdom that have counseling.
Wow. Now, the young man has brewed some alcohol for the father so that those scenarios can be addressed. What if in that homestead, maybe the father doesn't take alcohol? How do we deal with that situation?
That is a very good question because even today, there are some sections of Christianity who actually are misguided about the role of alcohol in Kikuyu marriage.
Okay.
Let me first of all state that there is no difference of the Kikuyu taking alcohol during that ceremony. For we say, dia ya mabura ne jono, meaning they don't drink to get drunk.
Okay.
It is identical with like the priest give wine.
When you're taking communion,
When you are
whatever,
taking
just
communion,
take a drop.
A drop. It is
Fine.
identical
It's
with
symbolic.
Symbolic.
Awesome.
Second, alcohol is nowhere demonized in the Bible. And I repeat, it is not demonized.
Okay.
Because in any case, Jesus would not have turned water into alcohol.
The first miracle he did.
It's the first miracle if it was demonic.
Awesome. So now that we've done now step 2,
Yes.
what is the third stage from there?
So once the father accepts the drink from the boys,
That's right.
then he takes over the matter and he'll brew a second beer, which was called Johia Rora,
Who brews this beer?
the father.
Oh,
of
so the son does the first.
he asked, actually, the son does not. He asked the uncle to show how the beer can be brewed.
So who brews it?
Oh, the men of the clan, they will be
Oh,
called
so there are people who actually undertake to do
Yes.
this. Oh, nice.
on behalf
So
of.
now the father has taken over.
He has accepted the girl,
That's right.
and the boy has been cancelled. If the answer is negative, he has been cancelled as to why that girl is not suitable.
Okay.
Then after, if that accepted, then the father of the boy brews another one called Johia Rura. And Rura is creating friendship with the potential Mudoniwa. That one had nothing about the marriage will be mentioned. This now comes to the third one, which you told me to address. That one is called Johi ya Kuheana Kihe. The beer when the boy is given away.
Okay. Oh, the boy is given away.
Hey,
I thought it's a girl who gets given away.
now, can you tell me, do you hear people who go, "Ona nugwe getunyo mwana na ikagirio mugu"? Have you ever heard that expression?
I've heard it. Care to explain?
Where did it come from? Have you ever thought how it came from?
Someone was observing a nogo.
Maybe, but
But
it came. That is the time when the father of the boy introduces his son to the potential father-in-law.
oh my. Wow.
And then the people who would have come with the father of the girl to drink that Johia Koheana Kihe,
Yeah.
that's the time when you will ask, we have nitwetikira mwanake no mungu ni uriku,
Aha.
because you said nugu igitunyo mwana reikagirio
Mugo.
mungu ni uriku.
Ah.
And that is, like I have explained in the book, they say that in your compound there is a mwate, meaning a girl we would like to come
Our side. So this ceremony is happening at the boys' home.
Yes.
So we've not yet gone to the girls' home.
No?
Oh, fine. Wonderful. I had no idea.
No, those are preliminaries.
That's right.
And the purpose, and people should realize and see how Kikuyu's wisdom was illuminating. The reason why the boy is being given is so that the boy can also be vetted by the girl's clan,
Potential in-laws.
potential in-laws,
Wow.
just like the girl was.
So vetting is both sides.
Yes, exactly.
It's not.
No.
So we've been having it wrong all this time.
That's correct.
Amazing.
It was distorted
Exactly.
by the missionaries who came.
The word is distorted.
Distorted. Because there is, up to there, you can see there is nothing that conflicts with the Christianity. Nothing.
Wow.
Anyway, so that is the purpose of kuheana kihi, so that he will be vetted. Which now brings us to the fourth sitting. The fourth sitting is actually where the official engagement of the two clans start. And that fourth sitting is the one, the beer that will be brewed, because there was, just like the mass, you have to have wine.
True.
Beer of asking the heart of the girl. Johia Jolio.
Ya Jorio.
Yes.
Ya kuuliza swali.
To ask
Yes.
the hand of the girl
Oh, nice.
in marriage. That was the official start of point. And that is the one that is being, nowadays, distorted. People think that you plant madhige.
Kuhada idege.
That is not correct.
Wow.
Because the first thing is to ask the heart of the girl.
The girl.
If the person who will be telling you kuhada idegere, then they'll be asking them, when will the sitting of asking the heart of the girl take place?
So they've jumped a step,
They
essentially.
distorted the step, because madhige comes much
Once
later.
it's confirmation.
Is actually the last two.
Wow. 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 Amazing. So we are going to the fifth step now.
Yes. After that, before we go there, I want to emphasize that when the beer is brought, the Kikuyus first fall are greeted, and then they are fed. And then the beer is tasted for acceptability. And they are told to name to give the Johi the name. The moment they say Nea Jolio, if the boy had issues, they will be told, your beer is very good. But here we do not have a place where Mwatena Harika, because the Johia Julio was escorted with you and a kid, Mwatena Harika.
Okay.
You told, beer is good, but in this compound, we don't have any door where you can take your Mwatena Hari.
Naharika.
That boy has been refused. But the beer will be drunk.
Oh, the alcohol doesn't go back.
Oh, no.
Oh,
It
nice.
served a very important role. Because when they are drinking it, the boys' clan will ask, Mwatoleganiki.
Oh, so they'll still have a sitting.
No, the same sitting, because they are conversing.
They're not, it won't turn into a fight
No.
after the alcohol.
Because they will say, Mwatoleganiki.
Okay.
Then they will be told, go and counsel your boy to correct A, B, C, D.
Oh, nice.
So you see, that is counseling. The boy is counseled, just like the counseling when the father of the boy was dealing with the girl.
So a question, Mzee Njuguna. All these processes, what timelines are we looking at?
The timeline is, if the people are village in the same area, they will have it when they decide to have it. But if somebody comes from very far away, there is, my book explains how the people from far would come informally and engaged with their age mates and get to know whether their boys will be accepted.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
if they
advance party.
Advance party,
Nice.
informally.
Uh-huh.
So when they
So
come,
there's no alcohol.
There is no sitting in the Kikuyu setup.
Nice.
Just like you cannot have a mass without what? Alcohol.
That's right.
But remember, it's for sipping.
True.
So that people should know that then I'm not going into details how it was done by the people from far.
Okay.
But suffice to say, they could combine many steps.
So that you have fewer sittings.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So
Makes
that,
sense.
Yes. That if you are prepared, we have this beer for this sitting, and that and that and that.
Nice. So the next step after this is
Kunerwo miti.
Oh, firewood?
No.
Okay.
Actually, it was a twig, and I've seen it done by our mukuru.
Okay.
It was literally the twig. Remember, Kikuyus were not literate. They would break a twig, and then they would say, first of all, no ratio can be called ratio if that sitting is not done.
That's right.
Because ratio becomes ratio because it was given a name.
A name.
So a twig is cut, broken, and say in our clan, the first thing we need is A, B, C, D.
That's right.
So that piece of twig is now given to the person who will collect it when it is being brought.
And it has a name.
It has a name.
So there's that's the symbolism of the twigs.
Yeah, every twig represents Ido Iriamareda.
Oh, nice. So how many metes would be?
Yeah, but they have a twig can be broken many times. And once the men have asked all the things they want, whether it is animals, whether it is gore, whether it is okay, whatever it is.
Okay. So there's no standard in terms of how many twigs?
No.
It's based on the clan.
On the clan.
Ah, right.
In the Kikuyu, there was no uniformity because in Kikuyu land, there are people who were living in semi-arid areas like Deya or in central region in the lower area. They did not have as much economic wealth like the people in the higher...
In the highlands.
So, ratio was not uniform.
Okay, that's good for clarity.
Then, after that, once they know how much they will be, both men and women have asked what it is that they will be brought. I'll skip the two stages of how the ratio was brought.
So, okay. Why are you skipping?
Because if I tell you everything, then you'll not find it important to go and read the book.
Very important. Thank you.
But I can say that the sixth Ikreho, there is beer, johi, nakabuli, kagudhugumithia buri.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that coming.
Yes.
At least touch on that so that...
The reason why that one is coming...
Yes.
Because the things you are asked to bring was brought in two phases. You, on the eve of the day of bringing the full ratio, the full bride wealth, a few were brought the previous evening by young boys who will come and push those small ruminants mainly. Goat and sheep into the mother of the girl's home. That is where, you remember they were shown during Julio, where the Mwatina Harika Ikoige.
Where they're going to take them. Oh, that is where they're to be taken.
Yeah, because... Once accepted.
Beautiful.
And by the way, when Mwati and Harika have been entered in that compound, no suitor, I forgot to mention that, no suitor, gutiri andu angi mwangioka kuria muiritu ucio.
Oh.
Koguo kuhinga muiritu ndakorio. Wekagwo na Mwati na Harika gwitikirwo.
Nice. Wow, Mzee Njuguna, this is very informative. Care to explain or elaborate a bit more on the...
Julio.
Mwate na harika.
Oh, sure.
In English, please, so that...
Mwate and harika is you and the young of a sheep and young of a goat.
Okay. Once they're taken?
And the reason why they are given, first for they are virgin,
Okay.
and there is a reflection that even the girl is expected to be so.
Oh.
Second, it means that once you have you and kid, the girl's home will never lack bully.
Okay.
Because in the old days, the small ruminants were like money. Currency.
Wow.
So that is the reason why it was very important. And the moment, and this is the one in which I think people go haywire, once the suitors are shown where the you and the kid goes, that is to know the home state, because they have been shown the door.
The door.
Ni kumenya mushie.
All right.
And once that is done, that girl, nobody else can come to ask her hand.
In marriage.
In marriage.
So her fate is sealed.
Her fate is sealed.
Beautiful.
And in the modern day, you can say as if it is a betrothal, actually.
Oh, nice.
Now, I move quickly to the next one. That and I said I'm not going to the details, the
Sure.
process of bringing the ratio.
That's right.
Bridewell. Suffice to say that it is done in 2 installments. One, small ruminants were brought in the eve of the day. That the rest were supposed to be brought. And when the boys' clan come carrying all the things, they will find that the homestead of the girl is barricaded. And it will be opened once they produce 2 things. Johi, to urinate, Johia udhugumithia buri, meaning that the ruminants that were brought the previous evening, they have been urinating in the mother of the girl's home.
Compound, yes.
And therefore, they didn't have permission.
Oh.
So, but this is said in jest. Then, kahuri, kamwe, a young goat or sheep, to sweep the mavi,
Oh, okay.
bibi. So that is the 6th. But once those 2 things are produced, there is gemi, a relation, and everybody is welcomed into the compound.
Okay.
And each person then takes whatever the stick they were given to the person who kumwaura, the one who received.
Mete.
Yen indo iria cianyitĩrĩirwo nĩ mũtĩ ũrĩa maheirwo.
Nice.
So then the next one is how the food was eaten.
Okay.
And johi, the johi that will be drunk in that sitting erago, johi ya kumagaria ohio wa kuracio, the food and drink of escorting the bride wealth.
Wow.
Tukitoka hapo,
Yes, sir.
is where you are telling me we go to. And that is the 8th sitting. Ya gũkũnjĩrwo mĩtĩ.
Gũkũnjĩrwo okay.
Ya kiunirwo.
Nĩ aunirwo. Wauna ũkũnja tena.
Now, gũkũnja, it was a process.
Oh, nice.
When the first condition is that, and people will read, you must have brought at least that small ruminants the previous evening to ask for that sitting. And when it is done, there are words you hear, the words that, and I'm just going to say the words that you normally, I'm not going in details about how it went, but you hear,
Okay.
whatever you have asked has reached.
Has reached.
This is one who will bring the bride wealth, and he will never miss.
He will never miss, or it will never end?
No. Murashia omwe, because it's singular. Murashia omwe otate.
Otatera.
So it is singular.
Okay.
Meaning that person
will always come
to bring what was asked. Mm-hmm.
And that's what the question I'm asking. When I hear Murashia omotatera,
yes,
it sounds like you will always continue. There's always this assumption that you can never finish paying right price.
There are two things here. What it says that person basically has not fulfilled all that was asked. Mm-hmm. He could even have brought nothing.
Oh, okay.
But there will be no shame. You will not be shamed. Murashio motate. And it will be put there. That string. I missed one step, because normally you get a small strip twig, karwa, of a hide of a sheep or whatever, and that is the one that was put on the floor there. And when each twig is brought, it is put on top of that,
the hide,
the small strip.
Yes.
And when all that process is complete, the things have arrived. The master of ceremonies will now tie all those twigs. That's why you say kohe. And he will raise it and say, Idoshianyu shio Kenya. Then he says, the bride wealth is to cement the relationship between the two clans or two families. The third word will be the bringing things of marriage. That process never ends. And then that bundle is then thrown to the place where there is dust where takataka is put. You have seen Idosianyusi Kenya, and that place will never fail.
Oh, okay.
So, meaning, anytime you bring out something, tutakula tu.
Wow.
So phase one ends there.
Beautiful. That is awesome. Thank you.
That is phase one?
That's phase one. Bwana Njuguna, thank you very much. I think that was very informative. It was also very powerful, and I now know why more than ever we need to interact with the material and understand these processes. I had no idea. So now that we have gone through to the first 8 steps of Odhoni, we'll take a small break, and when we do get back, we will address now the second phase, which will give us the 8 other stages we need to go through. So thank you, and keep it locked.
Well done. For generations, Kikuyu marriage was not a complicated ritual system, but it was a carefully ordered social covenant. This book introduces the concept of rectification ceremony. My name is Mzee Njuguna Mwangi.